Testing, testing. Where did Shanae go?
I don't know.
Mr. Superintendent, we're just waiting for the clerk to return. I don't see any of the camera people around, so she may be with them trying to Skype in. So, Chip, are we able to get Vice President? Is he on now? How do we get him in? Shanae, how do we get him into?
We're trying.
Yeah, okay, all right. All right, well, we will begin the meeting. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. We're convening this meeting of Superintendent Vargas's budget presentation, the 2015 and 16 fiscal year. We're hoping to have President White participated via video conference on Skype. Vice President White is at the National School Board Association's annual conference in Nashville, Tennessee. And we're also going to be joined by Commissioner Evans, who's traveling back from the conference, and he's on Facebook. So good evening, everybody. This evening, we will receive Dr. Vargas's proposed budget for the 2015-16 fiscal year. In his presentation, he will highlight initiatives that reflect the district's commitment to student achievement and the fiscal condition of the district. Tonight, the board will not ask any questions or comments on the superintendent's proposal. And I just want to mention, and I'll mention this again, the following meetings have been scheduled to receive public comment and deliberation on the proposed budget. Those dates are, for the public hearings, are April 9th and April 28th. The board deliberation sessions are April 7th at 6 p.m., April 21st, April 30th at 6 p.m., and those public hearings are also at 6 p.m. Dr. Vargas, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Vice President Elliott, members of the board, and also Commissioner Cruz, who is the chairman of the Finance Committee, Commissioner Flower, Commissioner Campus, and Commissioner Adams. It is a pleasure to present the budget meeting tonight. And I just want to acknowledge and thank the team that have been working for many weeks, many months on this. So please stand. There's so many of you that I see that you have been working on this budget that have made tonight possible. Bill and all, please stand. What you're going to see tonight is the product of many hours of work that the team have put on. So tonight, we're here to present the budget to you for the 2015-16. This is, again, I want to emphasize a draft budget. Some people consider this a final budget. It's not. There are three essential areas that we are going to touch tonight. We are going to talk about investments in our priorities. and how will we close the budget gap. And most significant, thanks to your help tonight, this is again a continuation of unprecedented way in how we do budgeting here in Rochester. We no longer talk about what we don't have. We are going to talk about the investment that we are making. While we're closing a significant gap, we are investing. That is unprecedented, not just for Rochester, but also for many urban districts throughout the United States. Most of the talk is about what we cut, but we normally don't talk about adding when you face a structured budget gap. Again, this is where we are tonight. We have been meeting since October. Here's March 23rd, and there are many, many more dates in which the Board of Education is going to be engaging our stakeholders to have further discussion on the proposed budget. We have had over 13 meetings engaging our stakeholders. You can see the date here. We began to ask questions to people, what are we doing that is going well? What thing does the district need to do to improve? And we capture all the input which you're going to see in the proposed budget. Once again, we do believe that to be a great district, everyone who works here has to treat our children like one of our own, and also we have to align our budget and our investment to our priority. And that's where you see our 5 priorities that we have set forward here, include student achievement and growth, effective and efficient allocation of resources, communication and customer services, parent, family, and community involvement, and strengthening our managing system. You have much to be proud of. For the past 3 years, just like when I arrived here, we were closing gap. We had an 804 position that were being laid off. We were in high table, arguing with one another. Where have we been since that time? We have been able to close $136 million gap with minimal layoff, and we eliminated, the phase-out, phase-in school. We once again changed the sad reality that we were giving our students the least amount of instructional time for the past 50 years. We did end that, and we began to invest in the arts and music, sport, extracurricular activity, and we also began to bring a stability to the district, that we didn't have this revolving door that we used to have, in which at this time of the year we lay off people to bring it back later on. And that's quite an achievement that each one of you deserve a tremendous amount of credit. Can you go back? Let me just remind ourselves in terms of our investment. Music, we added 18% more. In the arts, 43% increase. Reading, we went from 0 to 16, and I'm going to be talking more about in terms of our investment tonight. Sport, social work, and librarians. Some of our schools used to have one library, one day per week. Now that is no longer the case. And we don't believe that in an urban district you can turn it around unless you emphasize literacy, and that begins with well-staffed library in all our schools. Again, last year or this year is the first full year that we're going to have full-day pre-K for any child that wants a seat in the district, full-day kindergarten. We are addressing the summer learning loss, as well as we are increasing our expanded learning time, which is now becoming a model for all the district to do, because we are doing it in a very responsible and sustainable way. Engaging all our stakeholders, beginning with our teachers. Books is the norm. We are sending books home during the break, and I want to thank our RTA and every members of the bargaining unit that helped us send 40,000 books this past holiday season. If we continue our path, we will definitely improve our student achievement. And I do believe that at school today, for example, we offer more opportunity in early child education and summer learning than the suburban district. That's quite an achievement. That's talking about investing in our students and have high expectations of them. We close the opportunity gap, just like we did on early childhood education. Let me repeat, this board should be proud. No other district will say what you said, that we offer full-day pre-K to every child, full-day kindergarten, and we also, for thousands of students, are offering enrichment summer program to address the summer learning loss. So again, we have added 70% more art teachers, 32% more music teachers, and we have, which we all should be proud, for the first time in decades, a district-wide marching band, which many of my Irish friends were very happy to see that in the St. Patrick Parade. So once again, we add more music teachers in our budget, even though we are facing a significant gap. To us, the arts, music, and sport, and extracurricular activity, those are essential part of our core business. Those are no add-on or something that are just for us to balance our budget. We don't believe in closing the gap on the arts or the music. We believe in investing on them because our children deserve it as much as any group of children in this county. Again, what we're planning to achieve in the 2015-16 school budget year, we're planning to continue the same trajectory to make sure that everything that we do, we have sustainability in mind. Anyone can provide additional programs, or can we sustain it over a period of time? That is the question. In the past, we have seen ourselves adding art, music, new program coming forward, but the question is, are we going to be able to sustain it? And the answer is yes, in our proposed budget. We are going to add 46 more reading teachers. We don't believe that an urban district should be operating like we used to, with 0 reading teachers. Now, 46 is not enough. This is just the beginning to strengthening our literacy program, particularly at a very early age. Our expanded learning, we're planning to add to that as well because we know it's working. How do we know? Because we measure growth, and our students and our expanded learning program are achieving at a greater rate than they are in the non-expanded learning school. Again, we're planning to invest on Edison to make sure that Edison come back to the school we used to be. The Wilson IB program, and I don't need to tell you about East High School. You're going to see in our budget that we are funding that program because we need to, because our students deserve it. Our Leadership Academy is going to have its own building. And we will increase, once again, by 20% our summer program to address the summer learning loss. And of course, we need to desperately invest and work hard in improving our students in special education. We are, and this is very important, for the past 4 years we've been struggling with the K-8 program. Why? Although I didn't inherit a plan, I could have told you that part of the challenge or a K-8 program is that it costs more. It costs you about 30% more to operate a K-8 program, and we are beginning to invest in there. One of the things that we heard from our principal, our administrator, and our families is that they don't want part-time teachers. And what we are doing, we are making sure that we're going to add 21 FTE, new positions, so that we don't have this so-called itinerary teacher, 0.6, 0.8, 0.2. We believe that our students need stability, and that's a significant investment to help us bring more stability and improve our K-8 program. Again, we will close out $40.5 million gap with minimal layoff. I repeat, with minimal layoff through attrition, and the significant part is that at the same time that we are closing the gap, we are investing $25 million in our priorities. This is an interesting number in here. Again, for next year, we're projected to, our district population would be around 28,638 students K through 12. As you can see, there will be a decline that I'm going to show you in a few minutes. But this is a very important number, and I know that Commissioner Evans is listening to this. Last year, he pointed out that our budget doesn't just support the students that are in our district, but it also supports the students that are outside our district. And we serve over 9,000 students that are in charter school, that are in private school, that are in BOCES program, that are in community pre-K program, that we normally don't include them as part of our 28,000. And I thank Commissioner Evans for making that observation, and it did show up to the budget this year. Again, as you can see, over the past 15 years, the number of K-12 students in our district have decreased by 8,758. Interesting enough, almost equivalent to the 9,000 that I've been served outside the district. Again, you can see in the graph that charter school is probably the #1 contributor to the decline. Again, budget gap projection, you can see it in here in our general fund balance is the component of that, and also in our special aid fund balance. So those two components, the general fund is 36.3, and the special aid fund is $4.2 million. Here is the first question. We no longer ask, the first question is no longer in our district, how are we going to close our gap? We know by law that we have to close our gap. That is not interesting. We all could do that, and we've done that in the past. And in my view, we need to shift our culture, and that's the unprecedented trajectory that we have set forward in the past 3 years. And that is, we begin with this question: how we will invest in our priorities? It is the important question. So what are some of our priorities? We want to expand the school day to provide more better learning time. So we are going to invest $2.7 million in 3 additional schools. And again, this is the school that we are serving today, 10 schools, and we plan to add additional 3 schools for next year. Next, please. Our summer learning loss, we plan to invest $1.8 million. Again, this year, we are proposing to increase it by 15%. We are planning to serve 12,500 students, going from 10,000 last year. Again, the saddest time of the year, if you travel like most of you do throughout city, is to see how our students spend the summer. well, not much to do. We as a district are stepping into the plate to do more for them, particularly during the most vulnerable time for them, and that is when they don't have a school to go. Particularly when you're dealing with children in poverty, this summer is a very sad time for them. That's why we are committed to make sure that we have opportunity available to them. Again, our students today have less opportunity for a summer job that they did, and I won't pick on Beverly today, but when Beverly was growing up in the 70s here, she had more opportunity for a summer job that our student today. Yes, Mr. Uvansky, I won't pick on you, but when you grew up in Portland Avenue, you had a more opportunity during the summer to be engaged in a program that our students today in Portland Avenue. And we as the schools need to point it out and to come up with ways in which we can address that sad reality. So what are we doing? We are proposing that we increase, we hire 100 students to lead by example. If we were to get the $36 million that we're asking, we would be hiring 500 students working with the city of Rochester and other entities, and also to hire people here at the district. And sorry, Mr. Vansky, this is for real more for picking on you. Again, we are going from zero reading teacher, that we had a zero reading teacher in our district 3 years ago, and we are hoping with your support to get us to 62 reading teacher next year. Once again, no district in this country or elsewhere can achieve greatness if you don't work on the literacy issue. That's why we're working 365 days a year to make sure that our children are engaged in reading and engaged in learning all year round. Our summer literacy program, again, it will continue to emphasize to get our students engaged, not just during the school hour, but also during the summer. Next, please. Our instructional excellence, we are going to propose to you in our draft budget an increase of $6.6 million. We will maintain our class size at 22 for kindergarten to third grade, 20 for 4th and 6th grade, and then 28 for 7th through 12. Once again, as I mentioned to you, we will reduce our itinerary, or better yet called part-time teacher, in our K-8 school to bring more stability. We will strengthen instruction for English language learning. We are planning to add 19 more teachers that will impact our students that are English language learning, bilingual students. Again, that would be an investment of $1.8 million. We also are planning to offer more opportunity around credit recovery for our students, and we would add 7 teachers to 12 teachers assistant, again, to support our classroom. Expanding Wilson High School. Wilson, we began to invest in there 2 years ago, and I will continue to ask you to invest more until we make Wilson the type of school that one was that used to attract students from all over this county. We believe that we can do that again, and we will. If our students are as smart as any group of students in this county, in this state, or this nation, and when you give it opportunity, they will strive. As I mentioned to you, we will invest more on the music, the arts, and in here, $500,000 just for new equipment. I was talking to our student representative today, Unique, and one of the highlights from the student is that they won state-of-the-art musical instrument. And you will see us year to year asking you to invest more on that. We will have at least one full-time music teacher in every school. And we, as you know, will continue to enhance our city-wide band. We are planning to buy more instruments for them. I believe that the district, the Rochester City School District, will be once again a leader when it comes to music and art. Our children are as smart and talented as any other group of children, and we have been able to prove it. When we give them a marching band, you see them in the street of Rochester engaged, doing positive things. When we don't give them that marching band, you see them disengaged. Career and technical education, again, we are working hard to make sure that we bring Edison back to the jewel that it used to be. And one program in there that is continuing to give us some encouragement is the P-Tech program. It has one of the best attendance, and also they had some of the best results when it came to the Regents exam that they took in January. And they continue to be very engaged. Professional development, we will continue to invest to make sure that our teachers and our staff and our administrators are getting the support that they need. Not just asking them to do more, but also we need to support them more. Next, please. Again, this is a sad graph in here. Why is it so sad? When you look at a special education program, we had a graduation rate in 2012 of 18%. That by itself should motivate us to act, to take action. And I, no matter don't highlight it, it's a great work, is the collective work that matters, no individual does anything. The superintendent by himself or a school board member doesn't do much by themselves, but I want to highlight Chris Soriano, who have been working with us, who I beg to come to Rochester, and thank you for joining my team. And I keep saying, since you arrived, we were 18%, you put a plan in place 2 years ago, now we went to 23% the next year in terms of graduation rate, nothing to celebrate, by no means I'm saying that. We went to 27%, and again, Amy Shabby and others worked like crazy and Patty in making sure that we had a goal that included serving a special education student during the summer. We didn't used to do that. And sometimes you see me getting a little emotional, and I think I have the right to do so, for a district not to offer a special education opportunity to students with learning disability. It's mind-boggling, but we use support. With the school board support, we have been able to turn that around. And if we continue to support our teachers and the people in our schools with a good plan, we will get there. And by the way, our goal is to increase our graduation rate for students with disability until they match our rising graduation rate for the general population students. Our students with disability are capable. Disability doesn't mean that you cannot achieve if you get the support and the time that you need. And by the way, when we do that, if we achieve this, the Rochester City School District would be the most, it would be the highest in graduation rate. Because no district have been able to do that yet. But I believe that we can do it. I don't know any district in the suburb or in urban that can make that claim that they have bring parity. But we should not stop it until we get there. Enhancing our special education, again, that's part of our plan that we will continue to work on. And Chris and others are leading that. And the plan, you've seen it before. We'd be more than glad to discuss it with you or any members of the public. that is welcome, scrutinizing. It has the support of the State Education Department and many other people who have been working on the plan. So once again, our work on the special education area is being guided by that plan. Again, these are some of the pictures of that plan. A lot of people understandably saw anytime that you're going to introduce change, are going to raise questions, and that's important. Question and concern are important, and we welcome them. But once again, these are elements of our plan, like for example, expanding access to career and technical education for our students with learning disability and other students as well. Next, please. This is an area that, again, I do know Commissioner Adams, thank you. This is something that you and I had a lot of discussion in terms of making sure that we address our school climate. And we have a task force that is working. We are, all our stakeholders are involved, and we are planning to invest $500,000 on the task force. And again, it's something that in order for us to improve our climate, we need our families, we need everyone to get involved, including our students, to do that. And I am well pleased with what I'm seeing in terms of the direction that we're going. So for next year, this $500,000 could support like restorative justice in our school, a program that we do know that works. We also are planning to work with our city, with our mayor, in the Healthy Weight Leadership Council program that she's leading. We also want to provide every pre-K student with a take-home book that the city is working on it, and we want to join that effort. East High School, we have been discussing this for quite some time. Again, around that time, in March of last year, we proposed that we should have the help of colleges and universities to help us. And today, I'm happy to inform you that we, in this budget, are supporting that effort. It's going to be around $9.8 million, and you heard the number before that was going to be around $10 million, and that is because we have secured some grant of 191 to 145,000 to be targeted for the effort at East. One of the things that East is going to do is that it's going to add additional reading teachers, actually 12 of them, and we support that. As I said to you, no district can get to what we need to be in terms of student achievement if we don't work on literacy. Next, please. Now that we talk about, we need the closing the gap. This is, our tradition has been that we talk about this a lot. And know what we adding, that adding was not, it was viewed as something impossible while you were facing a budget gap. The answer was we cannot do more because we had to close the gap. And we had changed our culture, and thanks to each one of you for that effort. So how will we close our 40.5 million gap with minimal layoffs? That's what I will present to you now. Again, we are planning to reduce central office by 8.5 million. We heard that from all our stakeholders that we needed to make sure that if we have to reduce, that we didn't reduce from the classroom or from our schools. And here are some of the areas in which we are touching. We are shifting some more resourcing into the classroom. And as you can see in there, this 52 position, again, central office is viewed by minute, like it's only this building. but we, in our budget, central office include facility, include all kinds of operations that we have throughout the city. We are planning to match our teaching staff to our enrollment. One of the things that I learned so much from our teachers as I travel through our school, my first year in here, they would say to me, how could I have 6, 7, 10 students that are in my book, but they never have show up to me. One East High School teacher, who now retired, told me at one point out of 24 students, she had 13 that never set a foot there. And it was that we used to have a system that default to presence. But we are working very hard to make sure that we have the data up to date. And by the way, when the student doesn't show up, we go looking for them. We call them. And we have significant number of students that leave our city. By the way, that's not unique to Rochester. That is typical, or an urban district that have people coming and going. That is not unique to Rochester. However, that means that we as a district have to be responsive to that reality so that we utilize our resources well. So we are making sure that we will have at least 17 students for our AP. That's another staffing approach. Like I said, it sounds like common sense, but we will staff our school based on actual enrollment. How many students are coming to school? Know how many kids are in the book. Next, please. Again, we also are planning to defer $2.3 million from our vacation, from our cash capital, and one of the reasons is that we do know, for example, that we are going to receive additional funding through the SMART fund that was passed less than a year ago, but now the state is working on the regulation. We are planning to partner with our labor union to build on what we achieved in the past to see if we can achieve some reduction, $2.2 million on healthcare. We were looking into redesigning our alternative program, and one aspect of that redesigning is to make sure that we match our staffing to the actual student that go there. That's where we had the most serious problem. We have students, for example, in our alternative program that never been there, or they've been there for 10 days, the whole years. And we need to be more responsive to that reality. We are planning to reduce 17 instructional coaches. And again, in our adult education program, we are trying to shift some of those GED classes to Old City High. Next, please. Again, since 1999, we saw a decline of 24% in enrollment, while our workforce has been reduced by 8%. And again, that is something that we're proud of ourselves. We do want people, after all, this is a people organization, but we have to respond to the reality that we cannot continue to have a declining enrollment. And we are adjusting, not just staffing. One area that we have made significant progress in the last couple of years is adjusting our blueprints. Like we used to rent a couple of buildings that we got out, one in Lyle Avenue, the old at the Flower City. We're no longer paying rent for those, and we're subleasing all the space. So we are doing a lot in this area. I don't want people to think that you just reduce staffing. Actually, I believe that the faster that you respond to the other area, like the space, that then you can slow down letting people, which you need, to serve our students. So, but we, again, we got to work up all front. Next, please. This is just an illustration of the reduction in enrollment versus that of the staff. Again, 24% reduction in enrollment, almost 1/4 of our student population, 8% reduction in staff, and we want to, again, responsible. I don't want to say this, but we saw an increase in the last few years, but we have done it because we want to add to our priorities. So when we, for example, have areas that we could invest more. So I don't want it to sound like confusing because we're saying we hiring more teachers, but we just got to make sure that we do it in the area that respond to our priority. Next, please. Again, these are the staffing methodology that we are planning to use. We are projecting 833 students lowest in the total K-12 population, and we are projecting at 26,791. And this take into consideration the no-show what I was talking earlier. A student, again, that have attendance 20% of the time or less. We are looking for those students, making sure that we continue to serve them. I don't want you to think that we have forgotten them, but it makes no sense to schedule a teacher for a kid that is not going to be there, or to buy lunch for a kid that is not going to eat it, or to buy a bus pass for a student that is not going to ride a bus pass. So it's not just about staffing when you're looking about accurate numbers. And again, we're dealing with that historic student attrition that we face. Student achievement remain our top priorities, and we are tracking attendance every day. And as a result, we have discovered that we need to do as much work in this area. Next, please. Again, this is a summary of some of the area. As you can see, there will be a net reduction of 147 teachers. Now, some people might say, well, you are reducing 147, but remember that we are adding 131 positions. We also believe that we can do this with minimal layoff so that we can have a stability, that we can do this thing gradually. And what you will see, as Dr. Lubansky reminded me today, that by the end of the summer, because of people retire, we hire new people in a specific area, people leave us, there's a great chance that you accommodate or that you hire those people when a person leaves, who retired, let's say an English teacher, then we need to bring an English teacher back to work in those positions. And you will see us, actually this is an area that we have made significant progress. We used to spend here over $2 million on unemployment because we have been very measured in how we approach this. We have brought it back, I think, to this year to about 1 million, and it is my goal. I know Bill is going to kill me, but we're going to work hard at this to bring it up to 500,000 or less, so that we, instead of paying people on unemployment, that we can hire more teachers, more support. So again, this is a summary of the area in which we have an impact, but again, would be minimal when it comes to layoff. We will reduce our workforce, as I say, primarily through attrition. Why is that? Again, because we don't want to have a disruptive school year. We all know that it's not as easier as saying to someone, you lay off. There's bumping right, there's staffing implication, there's a school stability implication, and we want to make sure that we create a very stable environment for our students. Again, we are adding 131 new FTE in particular area. English as a second language area, the music area, reading teachers. We believe, once again, continue to support our priority for our students. Next, please. This is basically a chart that gives you an idea of how we're closing the gap. As you can see in there, reduction in central office is one. The reduction in central office count for 8.4, and alignment of school to teaching staff is 7.3. And again, this is due to our FMP closing school 36. We did achieve some saving in there, as well as with Charlotte High School and other. Again, we have been working on this for quite some time. The Board of Education, I remember that we did present a plan to you that we will close our structural budget gap by 2018, which is extremely important. We want to eliminate that from our approach. The fact that year to year we're facing a gap, and the reason basically is the fundamental one. Our revenue is not growing at the same rate that our expenditure is. So why is that? Charter school are the #1 driver. This year, for example, 80% of what we're going to get from the state potentially will go to charter school. Next, please. And again, this has some key assumption in here. We are assuming that we will be getting about $25.9 million for state aid increase. However, we are requesting, there's a difference between what you're assuming and what you're requesting. We are requesting $36 million. And if we were to get the $36 million, then we would invest even more in our students. And that is a very important distinction, and we got support from the entire delegation. Republican and Democrat are supporting us in this effort, particularly because they know that we are investing like close to $10 million to East High School. And the other thing that they are impressed is with our expanded learning program and our summer learning loss. I think that everyone agreed with us that we had to do more for our students during the summer. Again, there's the assumption in charter school could generate $0.3 billion of potential additional costs. Our nursing services, every year we get a support for $1.2 million. So we assume that we will want to get that. And again, as I mentioned earlier, some of the assumption is around the Smart Bond Act, which is very likely. So what I likely in here, the #1, I think Commissioner Cruz, you asked me that great question today. What are the assumptions? The #1 is the key here. And from talking to everyone that is involved, they think that this is realistic, based on the proposal that they sing and what people who follow what's going on in Albany believe that. Again, they believe that 36 is a good request, is sound, because it's around our investment. But for budgeting purpose, for the draft budget, the 25.9 is a sound recommendation or assumption. Again, the SED, expanded learning, we assume that we were going to get something, but notice that we put 0 in there. And that is because sometimes you miss it in one area, and then you get it in another area. So I think that it is safe to assume that we will be getting some additional dollars in that area. Next, please. Again, our total revenue, as you can see, the increase in this budget is by 0.7%. So if we go to $798 million, and you can see, which we are proud, we are a people organization. Also, again, our revenue is from the state of New York is, as you can see, 67%. So that's why we pay as much attention as we do to the state. The city is constant. We get 19 million from them, and of course we get federal Title I money and other grant money, and of course our food service. We generate about $20 million, and grant, you see a decline here from prior year, and that is due primarily to race to the top and all the American Reinvestment Act. That money begin to dry out, but we are planning to make sure that, you know, as those grants are going away, what are we going to do to make sure that we don't have an incredible disruption in the system? Again, our total expenditure here, as you can see, salary and compensation count for 41%, followed by employee benefits. Those are the two top expenditure in there. But once again, take a look at the charter school. Our hope is that we will slow down the growth. As the district improves, we will be able to slow down the growth of charter school, but it's an increase of 8.4%. And that we will be experiencing. And this is an area that all of us need to continue to monitor very carefully, because again, it is, and I have said this to everyone involved in the district, there's no question that we have the smarter workforce. Actually, the Rochester City School District is one, as measured by degree, there's no one in this county that have more accomplished people in terms of education and smart and everything else than the Rochester City School District. I believe that with the right strategy, the right investment, that we will, and with the right design, we will have an organization that we leave the charter school behind. And by the way, we have more resources than they do. And I can prove it. So we could do better, but this is an area that is calling for immediate improvement. And that's why we are asking to improve our services and programs. And we are attracting a lot of people, particularly through our expanded learning school. Actually, I had a mom in here from a grandma actually from another district, surrounding district, that wanted to give her daughter in one-class school. Why? Because her daughter stayed with us until 5 o'clock, and she works as a single mom, and that is the services that they value and appreciate. Next, please. Again, how we utilize our stakeholders. This is something that we've been in conversation with the school board, we've been in conversation with each one of you, and your contribution, I hope you see it in here. And also all the stakeholders, our students told us, for example, the art and music was important to them. The K-8 school, we're talking about to make sure that we don't have more part-time teachers, itinerary teachers, so that they could hire the best teachers. So we added 21 FTEs because of that, and we heard that loud and clear, particularly from our school principal. And yes, our chief and everybody else was saying that we needed to do something about that. We're trying again to adjust our footprint, and thank you to all of you for supporting our recommendation for School 22 and 36 and Charlotte. The additional expanded learning school, these three schools voluntarily are working now to expand the school day, school 8, 19, and 41, and expanding the reading program. That's something I got an email from a teacher at the School of the Arts, actually, that said that in recent history, she haven't seen as much effort as we've been putting, and and thanks to your support in the area of reading, but it's not just to get children to read on grade level by 3rd grade, but also at the high school level. And that's why we put an additional 34 reading teachers. East, which we support their request, is going to have 8 more. Keep going, please. This is important. I do know that the Board of Education, again, this is a draft budget. Commissioner Cruz, you are the chairman of the Finance Committee. These are your dates in here that you have to engage our stakeholders. I know that the Board of Education is going to be welcoming input. Again, this is part of the process. We welcome that. I know that the school board is going to ask us a lot of questions. We expect that. We will do our best to answer each one of them. And also the public, our teachers and our principal, administrator, and central office, and our students and our families are going to be asking questions. We are going to be prepared to answer your question and to hear your input. I know that the Board of Education is always interested in hearing that. Next, please. Well, Vice President Elliott, that concludes our report. Again, another year that we are here talking about what we are going to do for our kids and talking about what we have and talking about our priorities, not just about closing the gap and having a lot of people online asking us that we should give them more. So this accomplished a very specific direction that the board had given me since I first arrived, and that is to make sure that we bring financial stability to the district, and also by doing so, you bring stability to our schools. So Vice President Elliott and Chairman Cruz, who is the chairman of the Finance Committee, I know that Commissioner Power needed to leave early, but I appreciate your help and support, and Commissioner Campus, thank you for your support. You've been knocking on my door about making sure that we have more services for our kids, and I thank you. And Commissioner Adams, as I said, keep championing the school climate, because that's an area that we need to work very diligent to make sure that we see significant improvement. And I think that you see some of your input in the budget priorities and also the draft budget. And I look forward to working with you in the next 6 weeks before the budget is passed and sent to City Hall. Thank you again.
Thank you, Superintendent Vargas. I just want to give voice once again to some of these dates. The first deliberation session is Tuesday, April 7th at 6 p.m. The first budget public hearing, Thursday, April 9th at 6 p.m. The second budget deliberation is Tuesday, April 21st. The second public hearing, Tuesday, April 28th. All of those are at 6 p.m. The third, and I believe final, budget deliberation session is April 30th at 6 p.m. The special board meeting for adopting the budget is Thursday, May 7th. And finally, the budget is due to City Hall on May 13th, and City Council will adopt the budget on June 16th. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Vice President Elliott. We have the budget book for you, and I want to thank Everton, who wasn't here, for his new budget director who's been working 24 hours. So thank you, Everton. You want to bring it to them? Yep, we will give you the book and ensure that you're going to be studying them and asking us a lot of questions.
Thank you.